Pizza place, it's ringing. Tell them you want a large pizza and steak and cheese.
I got it.
Don't be weird about it. Just say it.
Hello? Are you doing food?
Jesus Christ.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy, our final Exorcist installment this week. As Exorcist Believer, not Deceiver. Believer has moved, which we'll talk about in a few minutes here, but it didn't move because of us. It actually moved closer to this rundown. Yeah, it's sooner for us, so we can get that to you sooner. 1 week sooner, but we'll get to that. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Farlow. Say hello, Eric Oldman.
Hello. I started to scratch my elbow right before you hit record or started your intro, and then I got very self-conscious that it was going to be very loud, like the mic was going to pick up me scratching my elbow. And I don't know if that's true, but
I didn't hear it because I was too busy stumbling over my own tongue. But I thought you were going to say I accidentally sliced my arm open with my razor blade fingernails.
Maybe I did that too.
Eric, speaking of slicing open skin and blood and sinew pouring out, you just came back from a preview trip to Hollywood Horror Nights down in Orlando.
Not a preview. It was just the opening night. Just there for the.
Well, you were there for press, though. Were you doing
press?
Yeah, I guess
I go every year. And there was a preview aspect because some of us went early in the day and did a walkthrough of The Last of Us house. All
right, so let's split the difference here. I was half right.
Okay. Yes. And then opening night, you do the RIP tour as a group of press and check out all the houses, all the scare zones.
And Neil Druckmann was there.
Neil Druckmann was there, and he kind of took us through the walkthrough along with Mike Aiello, who's one of the main guys behind Horror Nights. He's a great guy. He's been doing that for years, and the two of them, me and IGN's Joshua Yale, who we both go way back with, we interviewed them together because we were split into groups of two for the press ops here.
Did I read right that Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson are actually doing the voices of Joel and Ellie for this maze?
Yeah, you did. Because for those who don't know, this is specifically based on the video game.
Okay.
Which
is interesting because I wonder how many people are actually going to go. It's not like they're going to be completely fucking lost, but I'm like, I wonder how many people are going to go in there wondering to see like Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey or something like that when it's not. It's the video game versions of these characters. But yeah. Which I would be excited about, but I would argue that the large amount of people going to Hollywood Horror Nights would want the TV version. But you know what? They don't always get what they want. They don't always know what's good for them. Who cares? What was your favorite maze, Eric?
My favorite maze, and there's a movie we're going to be talking about in a minute with news that you've already foreshadowed, is The Exorcist Believer, which is not the only time they've done a movie that's not out yet. I think it happened with Happy Death Day, in fact, and a couple other movies that were opening during Halloween Horror Nights. So when it opens, it's not out yet. But always a little weird because obviously usually it's like, hey, this is a thing you know and love. Whereas Exorcist Believer, well, you might know and love The Exorcist, which has twice been a house at Horror Nights, the original. But this is a brand new movie that opens in a few weeks. So it's just a funny thing when you walk through it. But they said they treated it as a living trailer. And regardless of all that, I just thought this is a really well done house. This is creepy. And, creepy little girls, always effective. And, a bunch of scare actors who I'm sure are like college age, dressed as creepy little girls. Very good. There was a moment, I forgot to tell Trish this, that I had a funny moment that there's a great double scare where both the girls jump out from different doorways on each side of you. And I recoiled from the first girl I saw and knocked into the other girl. I felt bad. I plowed into that other scare actor because
what if you caused them to have a back injury the way Steve Milan caused you to have a back injury? It's all just misunderstandings and mistakes. It's
all just passing it on.
But all of a sudden your back feels great. It's like you gave them the curse.
Ooh, I did. It's like it's why am I blanking on the name of the movie?
It Follows.
It Follows is what I was trying to think of. Yeah, you got to pass.
You
on
went
the curse.
the much better movie. Would it
Pay
be
it
asking
forward.
too much for like randomly
Mm-hmm.
the Gemini killer to pop out with the shears and just go "Rah," and like scare you
You know, it would be
for a triple scare?
it would be awesome because and I hope maybe one day, because Halloween, for instance, they've done a bunch of Halloween houses at this point, right? And they've done houses based on the first, second, and fourth movie specifically,
but not the
multiple
best
times.
one, Resurrection. All right,
Not the Resurrection, but many times before the 2018 and especially Halloween Kills kind of made it part of the canon of those movies. They've had nods to Season of the Witch. They've had Kids in the Masks. That's so why not in an Exorcist maze for a different movie? Throw in a Gemini.
oh
killer.
man, or just an old woman crawling on the ceiling.
There you go. There's a lot of options here. Yeah.
Or just George C. Scott screaming. Okay, how was Chucky's kill count?
It was fun. It was not very scary, which I didn't think it would be. But I will say, it's one of the ones I'm most curious about. So we're recording this Wednesday night. Thursday night, around after this episode goes up, probably, I will be at opening night of Hollywood Universal Halloween Horror Nights. And I did a walkthrough of the Chucky house there a couple weeks ago when they were still finishing it. And I feel like it might be better in Hollywood. That's what's always so interesting, is that they're never the same mazes, even when they're based on the same IP. They have different layouts, and sometimes the one in Orlando is clearly the better version, and sometimes in Hollywood is the better version. So Chucky, I liked it because I'm a Chucky stan. I'm gonna like anything Chucky. I just thought it was fun, but it was not scary. It was just kind of like fun to look at the visuals of it. What I saw from the walkthrough, again, wasn't actually live, didn't have any scare actors. I feel like they might have gotten a little more into the scares of it. So I'm curious to compare the two of them.
I did not know that about the difference in mazes between the two locations. And also, Chucky is an interesting thing because I feel like there was some fright going on early on, and then it went meta, and then it was purposely camp and fun and silly. And then it tried to get the scares back, and then we're at the Chucky TV show now, which I find very entertaining. I don't find it scary though.
No,
which is fun because it's like scaring people with a TV show is a very, very different thing than a movie theater. But I'll say that our main event today, the Exorcist TV show, I think did a really good job of creeping me out a few occasions.
Yeah.
The big thing is like, how can you take The Exorcist and put it on TV, especially network TV? Like, how could this happen? How can it be effective? And the 2 episodes I watched, it was for what it was. Obviously, it's not going to evoke the actual William Friedkin movie and the intensity of that, but I thought it did a great job. Overall, so far, it made me want to watch more. So that's what we'll talk about in the main event today.
Agreed. I was going to say with Chucky and the Horror Nights in general, notably, they'd never done at Hollywood. I think they might have years ago in Orlando, but Hollywood has never done a full Chucky house till now. Chucky's been a part of Horror Nights in many different ways, and it's kind of obvious why, which is like he's a little guy. Like, unless you're going to hire a bunch of little people, which you're probably not going to do. How do you can't have like Chucky jump out at you like a guy playing Jason can over and over, different people can in a Friday 13th house. So, what do you do? And the answer is a mixture of like animatronics and puppets jumping out at you and making the people jumping out at you the victims, like people that are seeing and have been stabbed and stuff like that. So it's kind of interesting to sort of see them have to try to figure that out. But yeah, the different houses is always the thing about Orlando is all of the houses in Orlando had giant sound stages, because when they built Universal Studios, we're going to film a ton of things here too, which never really happened. A few things filmed there, TNA wrestling and a few other things, but it never became a full like working huge studio. So most of those sound stages are just Horror Nights all year. Either they're open and running, or they're building the next ones. So they have so much more space to work with than Hollywood, where they have to kind of build these. They don't use many of the sound stages, and they can have things come from above a lot, which is cool. Like people reach down or people swing by sometimes and crazy shit. So Hollywood can't do that, but it does mean the layouts are always 100% different. How they do gags is different. And sometimes I remember one year, Krampus was a house at both of them. And Orlando, I was like, it didn't do anything for me. And then in Hollywood, it just was like, oh, I love it. Like, this is like one of my favorite ones, but I've had the vice versa has happened as well. where just like whatever the way they planned it, the way they did the jumps, the way they put an animatronic versus a real person, vice versa, can just work better. So
space wise, real estate is always been sort of a Southern California like issue as far as like trying to put Hugsmeade into Universal Studios as opposed to like down in Florida where you can have a full Hogsmeade, you could have a full
and Diagon Alley,
and a Diagon Alley,
and a train to connect them, and all this stuff
goes back and forth. You get on the express, you see the Dementors. It's all great. Okay, happy birthday, Eric! I'm glad you had a great trip. Let me tell you a little something about being age 48 as your elder. I have a lot of sage advice to give to you.
Please pass it
after
on.
the broadcast.
Sure.
I want to mention a few things in passing before we get to the news. One is that I finished How To with John Wilson, which just had its 3rd season. That was a good thing to enjoy that I recommended. I believe I did. Who can say with my memory what I've recommended and what I haven't? But How To with John Wilson, excellent show. It's a miracle that it got a 2nd season, much less a 3rd. So I recommend everyone watch that. 6 episodes each season. I honestly can't describe it to you. Get through 1 episode though and watch the 2nd one and you'll start to get the vibe of it. Okay.
You recommended it on June 10th, 2021.
Eric's got the receipts. He's got the receipts. He's checking the spreadsheet. He's looking it up. And Daryl Dixon, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon is premiering next week. And Sunday, actually, the 10th. Who's to say?
Yes.
Whenever the 10th is. Whenever
there's, every time you say who's to say, there is a way to figure it out.
When I say who's to say, I mean it's not for me to say. It's for you to say.
Okay.
It's the 10th, and if that happens to fall this week, so be it. It's Sunday, which obviously makes sense for Walking Dead. I will say, The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, which has a very, very silly log line, which is Daryl Dixon goes to Paris, is a good show. I recommend it. Look, any Walking Deadites still out there, either you've stuck with it for the long haul, God bless us all, or you're lapsed. You gave up on the last few
which is
seasons.
Many of us.
Yes, absolutely understandable, and you didn't miss much. Check this show out. I think coming back into it, you don't even have to have watched the past 2 seasons of Walking Dead, and it's the best thing they've ever done with Daryl, which is to say he was a super, probably maybe the most popular character from that show. Obviously, there were many popular characters, but he was a standout, especially midway through its run. So many people loved him.
Notably, not from the comic book, and yet,
created for the show, and also, I will have to say, I don't think I've ever seen a character as popular provide so little on a show as far as character and emoting and not giving good material. Like, I'm not saying it's Norman Reedus' fault. This is great stuff. This is what I wish they'd been doing with Daryl. I wish they sent him to fucking France back in season 4.
He should have gotten to France ages ago.
Get the fuck out of here. Okay. Secondly, my brain is absolutely scrambled because I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for the past 2 days, and I have its theme song / score stuck in my head, which is down, down, down by the river over and over again, and that will drive anyone mad. Would you agree, Eric, that scary demon girls are better than scary ghost girls?
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about The Exorcist and how that house is very effective at Horror Nights, and scary demon girls, scary ghost girls have their place too. They can be great, but scary demon girls, that's where it's at, man.
It's a hot time in the old town tonight. That's the ticket.
Trisha and I have been watching a show she's already watched, but she wanted me to watch for a while, and so now our lunchtime show, working from home when we can eat our lunches together. We've been watching Lock and Key on Netflix.
Man, I watched like the first 4 episodes of that,
based on the comic book that I have read. Anyway, I really dig the main theme to that show, the closing credits, when they play the big orchestral main theme. Very catchy, very good.
That was a big Comic-Con hot property when they showed the unaired pilot of the original adaptation of that show before it wound up on Netflix.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is that I forgot about when I was kind of reading, the wiki for it, is that because that was a famous property that took forever to actually get its adaptation. like Matt is referencing, they made a pilot that had the rare distinction of, even after it got passed on, they did give a legal public showing of it at San Diego Comic-Con, and then I think they also did it at New York Comic-Con, which I was at. But what I forgot, Matt, is there was a second pilot before this one.
So one in between. Okay.
Yes. And that one was directed by Andy Muschietti, and that's why he's an EP on the final version. He did kind of still have some connection to the final version, but it wasn't his pilot that is the one that aired it. So there's a different cast. There was a second cast, and that one I've never seen the pilot for, and I would like to, just out of curiosity.
For those who don't know the name, he directed he directed the biggest bomb of the year, but also horror-wise, It chapters 1 and 2. Very big, popular.
Well, I was just watching Dan Murrell's video talking about the summer's winners and losers, and he pointed out, financially speaking, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is probably the biggest bomb of the year, even though it made more because it cost more. They're both
these
two
movies
giant bombs,
and their
so.
budgets are
Yes.
out of control. Eric Goldman, out of
Yeah.
control. I can't even tell you how my daughter, who's been recouping, she had a surgery on Friday. She watched finally, because it was available on digital, the live action Little Mermaid today, talking about out of control budgets, massive budgets.
That movie made almost 600 million. There's no reason that movie shouldn't be considered a success, except that it costs too goddamn much.
Except that it costs nearly 300 million. That's the whole thing. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, let's get into very quickly. The news isn't even that newsy. I mean, it is newsy, but it's not long. It's not nothing to really ruminate about.
Pretty fascinating thing that happened. I mean,
it's funny because, and you can't fault them necessarily for people not just studios, but like us fans, people who want another event movie weekend with two movies with just disparate, different tones clashing with one another. Nothing will ever replicate Barbenheimer, but people are already like forecasting ahead and looking at other pairings and seeing, could this be the next Barbenheimer? The next Barbenheimer can't be predicted or manufactured because it will just happen. It's kind of like when everyone was trying to find the next Rock and the next Stone Cold and the next stuff in wrestling. But yeah, Exorcist Believer moved back forward. It moved from Friday the 13th, October 13th to October 6th, a week earlier, to get out of the way of the Taylor Swift concert video, which has already broken records in pre-sale.
Concert movie, not a video. That'd be funny if it was just a single video.
Honestly, her fans would just sit in a darkened room and just watch it on an old 80s television, like a big box TV, put in the VHS. Yeah, the concert. Concert video, I guess I'm just used to like MTV stuff or something like that. Yeah, the concert movie for her Eras tour, which is going to dominate the fall as the fall clears out of other big movies, not because of Taylor Swift, but because of the strikes. But Exorcist specifically got out of the way of Taylor Swift, though.
Well, I mean, which is a funny incidental thing that happened, but I'm just more, I mean, this whole thing of no one knew this movie existed last week. Like when we were recording, like Taylor Swift just tweets out, "Hey, surprise, we made a movie out of my current tour, by the way," which is still touring the world.
It's still happening. It's
we made a movie, tickets on sale now for October 13th. And because she is one of the most successful musicians ever, it was insane, like the reaction. It really goes to show you who needs a marketing budget if Taylor Swift is going to tweet out, "I made a movie, here, buy tickets," because it, crashed movie site systems. People were timing out, even though they tried to prep for it by having a queue ready and all this stuff. And when it's all said and done, I think it's the second biggest pre-sale ever after Avengers Endgame for a single day. Absolutely insane, bigger than Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah, just the fact that like this, no one knew this movie was happening.
Had three Spider-Men.
Well, one Taylor's all you need.
One Taylor Swift.
So
how do you think this movie? Well, first of all, this movie is going to do absolute blockbuster dollars. But do you think it was right for Exorcist to get out of the way? What do you think?
Yeah.
People are mockingly upset that it denied them their their Extra Swift weekend, which, by the way, they could still do that. It's just
they can still do it.
Will have been out a week already, but yeah.
But what was funny was because the announcement happened, it was like, holy shit, this movie's happening. Everyone is going crazy buying tickets. Extra Swift started to be a thing people were tweeting because when people realized, oh, it's opening the same day as Extra Swift, Exorcist Believer. The very funny thing of looking at Jason Blum's Twitter feed that day, because he tweets out in the morning as this is all happening, hashtag Extra Swift. And then 6 hours later, after him and Universal no doubt had a bunch of big oh shit meetings, and I do like that he tweeted this, he said, look what you made me do. The Exorcist Believer moves to 10/6/23. Hashtag Taylor wins. Just a full, like, we're conceding. We want no part of this. And I think people pointed out the big reason to do it is the movie was such a out of nowhere thing that suddenly it was going to be like, it was going to get all the good screens. It was getting off screens. It was getting, like all the best screens were going to get it. And it would just kind of take the oxygen out of the room because Exorcist Believer could be a hit. It's a horror movie. I don't think it cost a fortune. But Barbie and Oppenheimer were two big movies that had like huge marketing behind it. And there was something more to sort of lean into here. I think they wisely were like, oh shit, we had no time to prep for this. We just need to get out of the way of this train.
I do think that man, I guess not always when it comes to movies. Not all ships rise on the tide, but I do think that the Taylor Swift movie would ultimately help Exorcist Believer, especially if the movie turns out not to be great. But this is, like you said, its chance for at least 1 week to be in the big house of movie theaters.
Yeah,
and not be relegated to like the tiny screens.
And just be number one for a week because it won't be if it opens the same weekend as the Taylor Swift movie.
Yeah.
But the other thing we should mention, I mean, again, because everything about the Taylor Swift movie is fascinating, is it is being distributed by AMC theaters, but it's not only playing at AMC theaters. There's this whole, like, there was a whole interesting stories about, like, in the trades about what happened and how they did go to the studios and they couldn't work out a deal. And basically a lot of people are, understandably, because right now the studios aren't making friends at all. So a lot of people are kind of like, like another kind of fuck up by the studios because they wouldn't accept like the terms she wanted for this. AMC theaters said, okay. So now the studios are kind of left out of the lurch on this because right when the studios are like, oh shit, we're moving movies because we don't have actors to promote them. Now there's going to be a giant movie in theaters in October now for sure. Like a, $100 million plus grossing movie, but the studios get
called
nothing from
Saw
it.
X, Eric. Which I can't wait for. I'm not taking a ticket.
No, me too.
I can't wait.
But that's a September release technically. But yeah, so this Taylor Swift thing, just a very insane sort of deal.
They had secretly planned to re-release Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 on IMAX screens like like October
6th or
October 20th.
Yeah. And they're like, no, you can't get them. Sorry.
Like, hey, you still can't get IMAX screens. I'm sorry for your real life duel with God that you seem to have going. Tom Cruise.
As a casual Taylor fan, I would go to opening night of this in IMAX, but I can't. We'll have to talk about our schedule in October, in fact, because I'm going to be on the road for my 2-week road trip vacation.
And I'm going to be on a 2-week cruise in October. So we'll have to talk about October quite a bit.
Oh, well, yeah, well, definitely. Oh, shit. I don't know. We'll have to find out how much that overlaps and if that will be very problematic or not. But
all right.
Might be banking some episodes. Banking.
Spanking. How do you think the Taylor Swift concert video movie will... the box office will compare with Barbie?
Well, I do think it's safe to say it will not be like I shouldn't say anything for sure. I don't know.
I feel like it might get first of all, how long is it? How many songs? Like what are we talking here?
And presumably I think it's a long.
Because she's playing for like 3 to 4 hours.
I think it's like a 2 hour and 45 minute thing. Yeah.
So it's like an Oppenheimer.
and some presume maybe it'll be more front loaded, but the funny thing is I was reading like a list of like the biggest concert movies of all time, and the number one grossing one was a Justin Bieber concert movie that made like 78 million. This is going to make that this is going to make 100 million in its opening weekend almost for sure. So even if it doesn't have good legs, it doesn't matter. Like it's going to be such a clear, easy success.
I'm just talking about it like, again, like comparing one's obviously a scripted comedy movie with a lot of cool social messaging, and the other is a concert movie. But like, I still foresee this being like something that brings women to the theater in a way where they would even, dress up like they're going to a concert.
Right.
Like they're doing it. And the way that Barbie sort of eventized and made it fun and made it like a community experience and brought people back over and over again with cosplay and so even or even if you're not cosplaying per se, you're just wearing pink or you're just doing something fun. I see there's definitely a Venn diagram here that's almost a circle.
Yeah, there's also a lot of debate, by the way, Matt, about theater etiquette in a situation like this from people who might want to stand and sing along.
Well, there's no reason to stand. There's no reason.
There's no reason to stand. Yeah,
there's absolutely no reason to stand. You're looking at a screen. It's not like you bought nosebleed seats.
People will want to sing along because people want to sing along when they're at a concert. They like the songs, so want to sing along. So
yeah. It's like how I sing along during all the Exorcist movies.
Yes, you do. It's
all beautiful. The groovy tunes. Okay, let's get skipping the email, the write-in portion of this week. And people rarely email. I don't know why I call it the email section. The write-in portion from our readers, I didn't do. I didn't check, so we'll just get you next week.
Get you next.
I didn't check on that, but let's get into our good things to enjoy. But first, let's talk about our next run here, because Exorcist is wrapping up a few weeks, almost about a month right now before Exorcist Believer opens up, so we have some time. Eric, you and I still have to talk about what our breakout episodes will be for this month for September. Saw can be one, but yeah.
Although Saw comes out like the last day of the month, we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll figure it out. I want to give you something, at least one thing. So we're going to figure this out.
Ahsoka should wrap up, I believe.
Ahsoka might. Does it wrap up this month? There's
how many episodes? 6.
No, there's 8.
4 more.
There's 8.
Oh, so it's gonna be like a Saw situation. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. Maybe it'll be a very front-loaded October, but we'll see if we can get one in September.
We decided to do a director run, and it's not even necessarily the one we settled on. The director we settled on isn't even one that we've talked about a lot on this podcast, although you did recommend one of his movies as a good thing to enjoy. And we're going to do 4 weeks of this director. So it couldn't be like a Spielberg. It couldn't be someone where it's like, you got to pick 4 movies of like a 40-year career of great movies.
Right.
It had to be somebody who has a solid, reputable, notable career who you could agreeably pick 4 from without, are there going to be some regrets? Maybe, but like not strong regrets, nothing that'll keep you up at night. So we bandied some names back about and volleyed it back and forth, and we came to Doug Liman. Doug Liman, who has directed some movies we very much enjoy. In fact, when we were going through the 4 movies we have picked, we like them all. We're just like, hey, let's do good movies for like 4 weeks. Also very different in the genre. And
he doesn't stick to one genre. And we'll reveal what we're doing week to week, though I don't think it'll be too many shocks. But I think we can say up ahead, we're not going to do the Bourne Identity because one day we'll probably do the Bourne franchise. So it just felt like that would be a weird one to do.
Narrator, they never did the Bourne franchise.
Look, it's probably true, but maybe one day we'll do it. I'd like to do it.
All right. So down by the river. The first movie we're doing next week is Swingers, which is the movie that not only put Doug Liman on the map, but everyone in that movie. If we're looking for like a 90s version of a St. Elmo's Fire or something where like, or Outsiders, or like, all these people are going to go on to have great careers, some huge, some very good, so we're going to do Swingers. But
especially because Favreau wrote it. So it's like, this was a movie that was a very big calling card movie, not only for the director,
but for the
star/writer and the co-star. Yes.
Yeah, and the 2 lead actors went on to do huge things, and the supporting cast as well. Like Ron Livingston, a lot of people in that movie went on to do things. So, yeah, we'll talk about Swingers, which you can watch on Paramount Plus or rent or buy or whatever, or maybe own Swingers. And launched the careers of a lot of people in the movie, and launched a revival swing movement that came about that lasted about 4 years. And
I mean, it was kind of happening, but it definitely helped push it into a much bigger thing.
I feel like there was a ska thing happening with like Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and Real Big Fish and like stuff like that through the 90s, and even like No Doubt in a way, like even though their big album wasn't their most ska-y. And then I think swing sort of like piggybacked on that a little bit for a while. But yeah, we'll talk about horn sections next week, Eric.
Yes, we will.
All right. What is your good thing to enjoy?
A goofy one, but a movie I just saw for the first time on Monday. New Beverly did a slash-a-thon, 4 mystery movies in a row. And it turned out to be 3 of the 4 I'd never seen, which was fun. But the one I enjoyed the most of the 3 I had never seen before.
Oh, you never saw this before?
No.
Okay.
It was a movie I'd often heard was pretty good. And it's funny that I missed this movie because it was during the 2000s giant horror remake boom, and I saw most of those movies. But if there were the two I always thought of that I didn't see were The Fog, which is not the one I'm recommending. Still haven't seen that one, and House of Wax from 2005.
Which, if I remember, which I did see. I'm just bringing that up because it's rare that I've seen a movie you haven't.
Yeah.
Is that it was famous because it had Paris Hilton in it.
Other
people who were notable too, but Paris Hilton.
Yeah. And I knew Elisha Cuthbert. So by the way, they did a fun thing with all the mystery movies, which is they would show trailers that could give you clues, right? Usually by just being sort of the same genre, or like, because one of the movies was House and Sorority Row, so they showed other like college horror movies and stuff like that. But House of Wax was the one where they kind of got the most like winky, because the first 2 trailers were My Bloody Valentine 3D and Friday the 13th, 2009. So my friend April was with me, and I said to her, okay, we're getting a remake, based on those 2 trailers. Then the third one was a Elisha Cuthbert horror movie I barely remember called Captivity.
Oh my God, Eric, I could go off about Captivity. Captivity is what broke the torture porn era of horror, because it was so aggressively like hard to watch.
And I did glance at his wiki page and see that most of that was all reshoots because they wanted to compete in the torture porn.
It's and I'm not even being like, oh, it was a challenging horror movie, and it was, there are horror movies that are hard to watch that are also rewarding, and this was the other kind.
But the 4th trailer, the one that really gave it away for people, was The Hottie and the Naughty, starring Paris Hilton. And so then people figured out it was going to be House of Wax. And then I was like, oh yeah, Elisha Cuthbert's in that too. What I didn't remember at all, as a movie I never saw, was Jared Padalecki's in House of Wax. So Friday the 13th, 2009, was it like three of the trailers had the stars of this movie. My Bloody Valentine 3D did not. It was just another remake from that era. But yeah, so they were giving us a bunch of clues. I also didn't realize Chad Michael Murray was in it as far as like CW stars.
That was his movie, because it wasn't Padalecki's movie. It was his movie. It was his.
Because I looked
his and Cuthbert's, but yeah,
because I looked at the timing and I was like, oh, this opened in 2005, the year Supernatural premiered. So Padalecki would have been known as like one of the love interests on Gilmore Girls, but he wasn't like at that level yet. He was about to be because of Supernatural. But yeah, I'd seen the original House of Wax many years ago with Vincent Price. I did correctly call in my mind, oh, I bet there's a character named Vincent, which, because you got to do that. And yes, there was a character named Vincent. I think they really, from what I remember though, it's like very, it's a remake only in that it's like creepy House of Wax where someone is making wax figures that are really people underneath.
Yeah, it's so what was notable about this one is it wasn't a horror movie from the 70s or 80s they were remaking. It was from the 50s.
Which itself is a remake of a horror movie from the 30s.
So they're just carrying on the tradition. We're due another House of Wax next decade. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so I remember enjoying it. I remember it had like a hit soundtrack and everything, from the...
Oh, the soundtrack's great because it's so early mid-aughts.
Yeah.
I'm looking at My Chemical Romance, Deftones, Disturbed, Marilyn Manson, the Von Bondies. So yeah, that was great. I was so happy to hear all those songs, a la Freddy versus Jason, or any of those soundtracks that were very, propelled by that kind of music.
Has to wax spoilers here. Cuthbert loses a toe. That's what sticks out from the movie the most for me, by the way.
Oh, you don't remember? She loses a finger, Matt.
Oh, okay.
Fake fan. No, so this is a very fun movie that has some very good wincing moments, like the one that Matt just referenced. Yeah,
I think I made it more wincy by making it a toe, honestly.
I think you did. Something bad does happen to someone's foot, so that might be what you're thinking.
Maybe I'm blending the appendage parts of this movies together. Oh,
I didn't realize this was the first movie from a director whose name I can never say, Jamais Colette Serra, who's had a really big career.
Yeah, he went on to do huge action movies.
Well, now he does Dwayne Johnson movies.
Yeah, first with Liam Neeson, he did a bunch of those, and then he did Dwayne Johnson movies, including Black Adam
and Jungle Cruise. But did Orphan, which I liked, and then another movie I really liked. I don't know if I've recommended it on here. If I haven't, one day maybe I'll make it an official one. The Shallows with Blake Lively, which I think is great. Don't love his big action stuff nearly as much. But this, so I was like, okay, that's why this is well made. He's a skilled director. It's a really, I just think a well done movie. And I really dug, again, I'm not going to go into what happens if you haven't seen it, but the finale, like the kind of grand finale, the final confrontation, just visually was delivering something I hadn't seen offhand in a movie, which is rare that you can say that. I'm like, oh, especially a horror movie. I'm like, oh, this is not your typical.
Man, I mean, I remember enjoying it. I don't think I could piece together the ending. I'm so obsessed with the fact that I wrongly remembered a toe being cut off. But yeah, so well, I mean, that again, whatever that scene was, toe, finger, who can say? Who can say? Is that that's what stuck out the most to me. That and someone who is waxed but still alive and gets nasty things happen to them. But yeah, so
yes, yeah,
that was a good one from. I remember liking a lot of those remakes, quite honestly.
No, there was definitely some fun ones. There was definitely some awful ones too, but there were some fun ones, and this is definitely now for me up there as one of the strong ones. I noticed Joel
Chainsaw
Silver
was good. My Bloody Valentine was good. Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead. Joel Silver and Robert Zemeckis are among the producers, so I wonder if this was once going to be a Tales from the Crypt movie, which is often the case when those two guys' names on it, like the Frighteners. Also, by the way, because so Paris Hilton was of the moment at the time, and casting her in this was a big deal. It is funny for me looking at awards and nominations for this movie, which Paris Hilton was being nominated for the MTV Movie Award Best Scared as Shit Performance, and it got Teen Choice Award nominations, but it also got Golden Raspberry Award nominations and one win. Well, we've talked about kind of the bullshit of that show anyway, and it's funny because Paris Hilton won Worst Supporting Actress. She is totally fine. She's not great. She is just, if you didn't know that she's Paris Hilton, stunt casting, you would not understand why this girl would be singled out as a notably terrible performance when she is a adequate horror movie performance.
It's just people who hate her. The Raspberries at some point became somebody is who do we hate? Who would Raspberries are a blight, and they have been for so long, and it just whatever. It does remind me though. Did you ever watch the final season of Newsroom? Remember the Newsroom?
No, I never. I didn't. I watched the first few episodes. That was my lock and key, Matt. Watched the first few episodes.
It has so many similarities to Lock and Key, quite honestly. But at the end, when there's these salacious clickbaity guys on the staff trying to come up with articles to just rile people up, and it's 20 bands that suck or something like that, and they're talking to each other. It's Pearl Jam, why? Just because they suck. And they're like, yeah, dude, it's so stupid. And the what's his name from Slumdog Millionaire, the lead of that movie?
God damn it, I'm forgetting his name too. He's not the Green Knight, but he fights the Green Knight. Dev Patel. Yeah.
His character walks in, and he's like, it's better if you said 20 of the greatest bands in the world. And he's just like, he's like, the way it's delivered is kind of like, it's like, let's put positivity in the world, and that's the message of the scene, but it comes off so shitty. Like the douchebags come off shitty, but he also comes off shitty.
Everybody sucks.
I don't know. I'm thinking about like, the rampant negativity of like some sort of like the hater circle that is the Golden Raspberry Awards, but then like the opposite of that can also be insufferable too. So
well, I say watch House of Wax 2005, and you could rent or buy that. It's not currently on a streaming service, but it's wherever you rent or buy movies. Get it.
Okay. I'll breeze through mine here so we can get to the Exorcist TV show. I'm recommending a movie from the 80s that I really enjoy, and I don't think a lot of people have seen it. I think it's still one of those movies you can recommend that they're like, who, what, where? It doesn't serve super famous people, but they're notable. Mm-hmm. It's called Miracle Mile, and it was hold on, I lost the page here because I went to fucking Dev Patel page. So hold on, I gotta get my Miracle Mile back. It was written and directed by someone who didn't write and direct a lot of stuff. So I won't really go into that. This was the last movie he directed from a very small filmography, but it stars Anthony Edwards and Mare Winningham. And it's about a couple who just starts dating in Los Angeles. And the guy, played by Anthony Edwards, obviously, finds himself in a diner on Miracle Mile late at night or early in the morning, and there's sort of like a ragtag crew of people in there. There's like a businesswoman, and there's this guy, and then
it's like the Bus and Speed.
Yeah, it's like think of the Bus and Speed, except there's no Alan Ruck, there's no Mekhi Phifer. I'm kidding.
Alan Ruck's in the show we're going to talk about today.
There is Alan Ruck in this movie. No, I don't think Mekhi Phifer was in Speed. That was my 8 Mile joke. Okay, so very important person in that diner gets a call on their cellular phone, or basically they get intel. This is 1988, so the technology is crawling here, but they get intel that missiles are on their way, and it's basically like nuclear missiles have been launched against the United States, and this group in this diner has I'm trying to remember, like a couple hour head start.
They have knowledge that no one outside of top government,
and one of them knows someone who has a plane, and they're contacting the plane, and like, we can all go now. And Anthony Edwards' character Harry is like, wait, I've just fallen in love, I gotta go get Julie, played by Mare Winningham, and it's all about him having to go back and get her and also meet them and get out in time. And it's sort of this really intense sort of like race against time movie. You think traffic is bad in LA now? Wait till there's a nuclear apocalypse and everyone's trying to get out of town. And I just always really liked this movie. I love the concept. I thought it was really interestingly done. It's a very small budgeted movie. And I also want to add a sweet note at the end of this sort of intense, I guess I can call it a thriller, kind of a romantic thriller. Except not an erotic thriller. This is a romantic thriller. Erotic thrillers are very different. Is that decades later, Anthony Edwards and Mare Winningham would get married in 2021 after both of them had multiple marriages and children in between.
Yes.
They just kind of came back into each other's lives after,
and I think they knew each other prior to this movie. I think they'd known each other.
I would assume a lot of the 80s young actors, these weren't. Mare Winningham was technically part of the Brat Pack because she was in St. Elmo's Fire, but she didn't go a lot of Brat Packy routes like with her movies in the 80s.
Right.
I think I saw her first in like Turner and Hooch. If not this movie, then Turner and Hooch. And Anthony Edwards had his own thing because he came from the Revenge of the Nerds camp, and
this was after Top Gun, of course, had been this.
So so he did. He was actually leading man in movies. Remember, what was it? Target. Was that one? Am I thinking of something else? What was the one where he was in Europe and being chased around?
I just saw this trailer at New Beverly.
It's not Target, is it? That was a Gene Hackman movie.
No. God damn it! It's gonna kill me now. I literally just watched this trailer. Gotcha.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Target's a Gene Hackman movie. Okay.
And they play, because in the trailer they're like, gotcha, like they play, like, it had to have a theme. It was the 80s.
Of course.
There was the by the way, Turner and Hooch opened like 2 months after this, and I saw both those movies did you see Miracle Mile in the theater?
No, I didn't. I never
Because
saw it
I'm
in the theater.
90% sure, Matt, I saw Miracle Mile by myself in New York for sure, because made 1989, but I think I saw it by myself. And I loved it. Like,
why wouldn't I have gone with you?
I don't know. You were like, I'll never see a movie called Miracle Mile.
I hate miracles. I hate miles. This has both of them. Whatever.
I remember I had to go to the East Side once in a while to be like, those movies.
Oh, that's probably it.
Yeah, that's probably it. It was the same theater I saw Big Shots at. My
Which I also didn't go with you to see because it was probably on the East Side. There's only one movie that can take me to the East Side, and that's Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers.
And I think Bill and Ted was another one. There was
Bill and Ted was like way downtown.
Oh, okay. I just knew it was in our neighborhood.
Yes.
But yes, I love Miracle Mile. I think it's great. It was one of those movies when I was a young person that was like, what? Like, just like kind of fucked with me. And I just, it's very, very like got me, like, gotcha. It really grabbed me, and it's very well done. And it's interesting that director didn't really like have a big career, but it's definitely, that movie is like, it's following, its sort of cult following has grown and grown, I think, through the years.
You can watch it with ads on Pluto TV or Tubi. And if you don't want ads, then I don't know what to tell you. So I will say that, and there's no way to really get around this because these films obviously weren't meant for ad breaks, but sometimes I really do like watching Pluto TV a lot, but it can't be something really I haven't seen before. It just has to be a movie I'll put on the background because these commercials come during the most inopportune moments. Okay.
It's pretty awful.
Those are our recommendations. Swingers is next week. Let's get into the Exorcist TV series. Again, how can you do The Exorcist, the arguably the best, most intense, most heart-stopping horror movie of all time, nominated for Best Picture on network TV, on Fox? And how do you do that? How do you honor that? How do you make it feel like rewarding and worth it? I think, again, I don't know how it all wrapped up. I've only seen the 2 episodes. It went for 2 seasons of 10 episodes each, and it wrapped up. I don't even know if it ended on a cliffhanger. I didn't look ahead. I will say that I did get spoiled just by looking on the Wikipedia page during the cast, finding out characters of who people play. I got spoiled.
Yeah.
So if you have any interest,
I presume, again, and if you know the answer, people don't tell us. I can only presume that there's like that this exorcism is solved by the end of the first season. It feels weird.
It feels like it would be.
Yes.
Last week I mentioned that I knew there were famous people in this. I couldn't quite remember who it was, but I remember they weren't all given to us at once, and that's because John Cho joined the series in the second.
I didn't remember Alan Ruck was in it, but I did know Geena Davis is the one I like kind of remember was a big deal at the time.
Geena Davis was the one who they were selling the show with,
Yes, yeah,
and yeah. So it's look, no fault of Wikipedia. We're late to this. The show wrapped up. It probably ended on a cliffhanger that'll never be answered ever. Whatever. Like this is our.
Or like a setup for a 3rd season.
We own this. It's fine. But yeah, as somebody who may want to continue watching this because I thought the first 2 episodes were pretty good, I was like, oh, now I know. Okay. In the first episode, though, it does show you the stairwell in Georgetown and let you know that this is the same universe. And
it's a sequel series. That those events happened. Like that, this is not.
So if you're wondering by the end of these first 2 episodes, if we're still wondering if we're like left in the lurch about if it's a sequel series, we're not, because unless you like went to go get yourself a sandwich and you missed it, they do tie it to the first movie. Okay.
Yeah.
This is brought to us by Jeremy Slater, who has made great TV shows but bad movies. So he, we're talking about 2015's Fantastic Four and the dire live-action Death Note for Netflix. But then he's also written for The Umbrella Academy and then Moon Knight last year. And this was
Fantastic Four is one of those movies where it's hard to
who's to say what he did and how much he contributed and what was. Yeah, who's to say like
a movie that got changed notoriously that much? Yeah, it's like
that movie got skewered, and it's hard to even like determine like who's to blame for what wound up on screen necessarily. Though Josh Trank would tell you that he had an amazing movie and that it wasn't what wound up on screen. Sure. I don't know. The Exorcist is the TV show he did before Umbrella Academy and Moon Knight, and he is the creator. Was he like the showrunner?
I think he might have been. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was.
All right, and it stars so Geena Davis, we already mentioned, as a sort of a mom living in. This is taking place in Chicago. This story, so not in DC. And Alfonso Herrera, who I don't think I've seen in anything. I think he just happened to be in all these sort of notably long-running shows that I never watched, like Queen of the South or Sense8, or I guess neither of them were necessarily long-running, but Ozark was.
And I think Queen of the South went several seasons.
It did. I just didn't watch any of those. So, which if they're his most notable things, and aside from stuff he'd already done, perhaps in Mexico and stuff like that. So this is my first time that I know that I can recall seeing Alfonso Herrera, and he's sort of the lead here. Though it seems like definitely by the end of the second episode, Ben Daniels is the second lead. Ben Daniels, who also I don't think I've seen a lot of the things he's been in, except that I watched Jupiter's Legacy on Netflix, which got canceled after one season, which was the Mark Millar comic book adaptation that was brought to the screen by Stephen S. DeKnight, and I thought was actually pretty good, but it's no more.
One of the notorious Netflix spent a fortune on, and then it was as if it never existed shows.
Yeah. I thought it was good, as far as like the new era of comic books that are like not Marvel or DC, but their own alternate superhero world, like The Boys or something like that. And then
I didn't know either of those guys really.
Yeah, I only know Ben Daniels because of Jupiter's Legacy, which was like last year 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
And it says he was on House of Cards, so I must have seen him because I watched all of that. I just don't remember much about that. Okay. And then we've got going back to the page, the two daughters here. Oh, Alan Ruck. We already brought him up. Alan Ruck, such an interesting career because it's like very, very, very famous 80s character in Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then like Guy on the Bus and Speed. Very memorable character too, but like step down character-wise from Cameron. But then he had a sitcom that Spin City was a show I did not watch, but I know went for a while. Yeah, Michael J. Fox sitcom. So he got the TV sitcom gig for many, many years. Mm-hmm. But then after this show, would land a very notable role on Succession as one of the Roy kids, as the oldest Roy offspring, half sibling to the other three.
A show I'll never watch.
Why?
No, I'll watch it one day.
What if I told you there were demons?
Oh.
But the demons were ourselves.
Is Brian Cox a mutant hater?
He's an everyone hater, honestly.
Okay.
Can't think of a single person on that show he likes.
That works too.
But yeah, he's Connor Roy on Succession. Okay. And then Hannah Kasulka and Brianne Howie as the two daughters.
Matt lists the actors section.
I am. But I only list these two because they're notable on these first two episodes. And I don't really think I've seen them in anything either. Again, they have long, healthy credits. I just didn't watch what they were on. All right. Let's get into the show, Eric. What do you think of the show? I know I've mentioned
I really dug it. I'd heard a lot of good things about this show. And it's kind of funny when I'm like, 2016, I was still working at IGN. I think it really goes to show you 2016, how much we'd fallen off very quickly network TV that I didn't watch this pilot. Because you just think out of curiosity, I'd watch a pilot for an Exorcist TV show just to be like, all right, let's see what this is. But this is right when Netflix has exploded. There's, a lot of, Game of Thrones is huge. And I just was like very much on all our favorite network shows that started to be canceled or ended. So it's funny that I never watched this, but I had heard good things about this show. And watching these first two episodes, I'm like, if I had watched this pilot, I would have watched this show because it's a good pilot. Especially because, it very quickly, I'm like, oh, this feels to me, assuming the entire show is good, and I keep hearing it is, this is like Sarah Connor Chronicles, also a 2-season show on Fox based on a famous movie franchise that people thought this was going to be terrible, but ended up being really good. But not a lot of people watched it, and it just kind of exists out there. So I thought it was well done. I thought it was creepy. I thought, especially coming off of the 2 prequels, I'm like, wow, the scenes in this show are so much more effective as far as actually being unsettling than anything in either of those movies were.
Oh man, when she pulls the centipede out of her mouth.
Yeah.
I will say that it's the pilot's good, but like the thing that really did get me to want to watch more was the ending of the second episode. So it's like the rule of like giving a show maybe 2 episodes, because if I had watched the 2, I would be like, I'm in. Like the way the second episodes ended with like everyone on that street getting butchered for organs and stuff. I was like, whoa. And everyone getting into the truck that we see, the first thing we see drive by in the opening shot of Chicago in the first episode is that truck. I can't remember the company name or something like that, but it's very notable. And it's interesting how we see things sort of pass by, because in the second episode, there's the kid who's running around with his headphones on. Yeah, he's going around town, and we see him twice before we see him go home at the end and get killed. But like the fact that the truck was from the first episode too, it's all connected. And the Pope is going to be here any minute. So
the Pope. Well, that's the thing, is like you're wondering, how do you make it last even just 1 season versus all the other movies where it's like by the end of the movie there's been an exorcism. So it's like, have it be a very much a slow burn, even for the person possessed, where they're like kind of unaware of it and they can like act normal longer. Have it be, it basically becomes by the second episode a buddy cop story, but it's 2 exorcists, because this time it's not like an older, much older guy and a younger guy. It's like this time it's like mismatched partners, different approaches. Give it like, what is the engine of it as a show, and then also have this sort of weird crazy murder mystery, and how does it connect? It was all well done as far as being like, because that they were in that writer's room, like, how do we make this last for 10 episodes? Why are we not doing the exorcism by the end of the second or third episode?
Yeah, they're planning something. The demons are like, they have a plan, and they're exacting, and there's a reason they're in Chicago, and there's a reason that they've picked this one girl, and so here are the things a few of the things I learned from these first 2 episodes about, this is a Exorcist verse, this is a shared universe. What I learned, this isn't even Exorcist specific. I learned there's a place they put priests they don't know, they reject priests that they don't know what to do with. Wayward priests. I guess they all go to this retreat and they just hang out and be like, I don't know, I guess you live here now, because I don't want to know, by the way, I don't want to know what the other priests did there. So like, they're doing to hide these priests. This guy did a bad exorcism, but what were all the other people doing? This is absolutely terrifying. Secondly, I didn't know that when you fail at an exorcism, you lose your mojo, and you can't do them anymore. Which seems to be what they were saying at the end of the second episode, when his powers have no hold over the demon because he failed. What I'm trying to say is that he's like Austin Powers, and he needs to get his juices flowing again.
Also, we find out that in the second episode that he was like a lifelong, almost like trained exorcist. Like, he is a 12-year-old. He saw someone possessed, and that's kind of like sent him on this path. That this is what it's not that he saw someone he saw someone possessed when he was young, but that's because he was being trained to be an exorcist. Like they were throwing him in the room with these things. And so, he has way more experience than Father Marin. And I'm trying to think at this point, I'm trying to think how old he would have been when was he being trained around the same time Father Marin died? I'm trying to piece it together age-wise. I can't. I think he's a little too young for that. I think he'd have to have been, but maybe not terribly.
The only thing that made me kind of laugh a little bit, I think unintentionally, as far as the show is concerned, is when the other priest comes down to Mexico to tell him to not do the exorcism. Yeah, and he pulls a gun on him, which just felt like Michael Scott in an improv class. Just like, even then, I'm thinking of the writer's room. It's like, how do we get the other priest out of this room? It's like, he pulls a gun. Like, that's it.
Look, he doesn't play by the rules. Again, I chuckled at Marcus in general, even though I like the character and the performance, because he's a lot, and he's the cop on the edge. He's the exorcist on the edge.
He's the one that goes into your home and just like helps himself to your fridge and your photos. He's like, oh, what do we have? You know, like right. He's like, hope you don't mind. I took the bed. And all of a sudden you're on the couch.
I meant to mention this last week when we did the prequels, that, you know, they kind of repeated a little bit of, you know, arc wise of the first one, because in the first one, you know, Karras is having this crisis of faith, and, you know, stuff with his mom, and, you know, feeling when he talks to people for psychiatry, and it's like really making him doubt himself. Now, by the end of the movie, he'll get his faith back, but at the cost of his life. Marin in both versions of the prequels has gone through this horrific thing that is making him question things, but by the end he'll be back on track. He'll be a full priest again. They kind of repeat it with Tomas, but in a different way that I appreciated, which is Tomas like never fully bought in. Like Tomas seems like he became a priest, but he's always like, yeah, like he's always kind of, I gotta deal with this woman and her organ, and I kind of like to hook up with this girl. So it's like a little bit different as far as like, it doesn't seem like he was ever like a man of deep faith, and he has this thing where it's like, I never talked to God. So I thought, like, even though it's a little bit of repeating that thing, it's a little different.
He feels like a phony. He did it for his grandmother, but he's also the cool priest. He's like the hot, young, attractive priest that the church has their eye on, because he seems like the best PR move for the you know, the church at this moment. Like, they need people who are charismatic. You know, there's a part, so it opens with him coming down from the pulpit and he's talking amongst the people. He's one of you, man. This is like a youth pastor. And he gets in there and he's like, there's no me and you, it's just us. And he's like, just everyone really, I guess it's like a distressed neighborhood. I don't know the neighborhoods of Chicago. I don't know when they call things out what they mean. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm always curious, because that's where I was born and lived the first year and a half of my life that I have.
You and I both aren't very familiar with her birth cities. Right. I spent even less time, 6 months in Richmond, Virginia, but yeah.
And like I said, my biggest impression of Chicago was Child's Play and Candyman. So that was what defined the city for me.
You can't, first of all, those are excellent markers. Secondly, yes. You also can't judge well, in real life, I guess, maybe TV wise, it means something different. Like, homeless people on the street doesn't mean it's a bad neighborhood. No, it just means you're in a city. Because we're looking at Geena Davis and Alan Ruck, and
she's incredibly successful.
Yeah, they have a huge townhome. They've got a nice house.
400 people work for her.
So it's like, what is this neighborhood? Is it just the church community itself was struggling, or the neighborhood itself was struggling? That was unclear. But anyway,
right.
Finger Guns Father Thomas has come in and sort of refurbished all that, given it a spark that it desperately needed. And he's got this whole initiative of houses for the homeless, or from homeless to houses, or something like that, which I'm sure also is going to connect into the Demon's plan, because they also seem to be touching homeless people and not fully possessing. So again, the separateness of a possession versus someone who's been touched and is now sort of a Renfield, I guess, a servant of the demon, because it is Casey, as we will find out in this sort of the mystery of the first episode.
And I was waiting for the switchback.
We got a full switchback, and they gave it to us by the end of the pilot, which
they did.
They didn't.
I felt it was gonna be someone else. Like, yeah, I just had this feeling based on, like, what we kind of see and learn about Kat, the sister that Geena Davis suspects is possessed. That maybe it was going to be Henry the dad or something else.
But then there's also, again, you can spoil yourself if you go into the credits on the wiki page of who these characters are, unless you really do want to watch this series blind. But there's a creepy man that is also sort of following Casey around after we learn that she's possessed and know what's going on, and he shows up. He even talks to her at the end of the second episode,
and that was really effective. Like, the first time we see him, like, watching her game, and it's like, what the hell's going on here?
Another note, I prefer, during the lacrosse game, I kind of wish she had attacked that girl herself instead of done something mentally, because it was just like, it would have shown her more as a like an actually physical agent, like something for her parents to be worried about, something for her sister.
But I think at this point the idea is that she can still get away with everyone not being like, what the fuck's wrong with her? You know,
I just wanted her to get her hands dirty, is what I'm saying.
By the way, so Kat, who's the college girl who turns out to not be possessed, short for Catherine. And I was pretty sure, based on the fact of Horror Nights, where they talked about it, and I double checked. Yes, one of the possessed girls in Exorcist Believer is named Catherine. I guarantee that is a complete coincidence that, you know, probably they didn't even watch this TV show, you know?
So no. The whole point of that show is that it ignores everything that's come up after The Exorcist, which is what David Gordon Green does. So I will say that one of the switchbacks here, one of the reasons why it works well is that Cat A is a bitch. B, her mom's worried about her, and she's the one who's acting different. And she comes with this very recent tragedy. So it feels like, oh, this is the vulnerability that let the demon in, because she was in this car accident that killed her friend. And that's why she's home, and that's why she won't come out. She won't come out of her room. She's the one acting different. And Casey is the one, up until the end of the first episode, who is acting completely normal. And then she starts acting different after everything Father Thomas sees in the attic and stuff like that. So much so that, you know, in the second episode, the mom, what's her name, Angela, is filming her like on a tablet because they need proof. And we're in the 21st century now, so proof, you don't have to record it and have somebody say that's them speaking English backwards. You can actually just record this activity. Submit it to the bishop for approval. But guess what? The bishop's a big nerd, and he doesn't want to do anything about it.
He thinks he goes to a shrink. I forgot the two girls. This is weird. This is a funny, weird thing, though. Maybe it is a nod. I don't know. The two possessed girls who are not sisters but friends in Exorcist Believer are Catherine and Angela. So I did think that was funny that it's Catherine and Angela are a mother and daughter in the most recent Exorcist project before this one. Maybe he liked the show. Now I take it back. Maybe like this is just like a shout out.
That is interesting. And I did, you know, I have seen that in a future episode, a much younger at this point, Sophie Thatcher will be in at least a couple, one or more episodes. You know her, everyone, from Yellow Jackets and The Boogeyman this summer. Sophie Thatcher, everyone. Sophie Thatcher, ladies and gentlemen, and the Book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, we've got the opening with Marcus in Mexico, and he's going to we hear screaming, and then it cuts to Chicago, and we get
they give him the Marin hat and bag, you know, the visual nods.
No tubular bells yet. Mm-hmm. Like nothing like that's happening. And we get to Chicago and Father Thomas's congregation, and we meet, you know, Henry and Angela and their daughters and all that stuff. And Angela goes to him and talks about, she thinks her daughter is possessed by a demon, and she gets the same answer that Chris, I was trying to remember the character name from The Exorcist, got from Damien back in the original movie, which is like, your daughter's mentally ill. We don't do exorcisms. This is, you know, she needs to see a psychiatrist and all that stuff. But all the while, interspersed in this episode is Thomas having dreams and visions specifically about the exorcism that Marcus performed, which we will learn failed because
was 18 months ago.
It was very recent that he's in this home for wayward priests. He just got put there.
Well, but it's still, you'd think until the end this is happening simultaneously, that it's like he's seeing things.
I'll tell you what I thought. I thought something very different from that, because I didn't necessarily know when the Mexico stuff was happening. I didn't know this was going to wind up being a buddy cop show. Mm-hmm. I was like, is Thomas the kid?
Okay.
And does he now have no memory of the fact that he was once exorcised of a demon? I thought that was the direction for a few scenes. I thought.
By the way, did they say it specifically Marcus was in Mexico? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what I thought was going on, because I was like, why was he? I was trying to figure out the connection.
Yeah.
And honestly, after 2 episodes, we don't know the connection specifically. We don't know why he is tied A to this exorcism, B to Marcus, if it's some other doing than the demon's doing. Like if something else is this guy, is this his God moment that he's been looking for? Maybe. I don't know how it plays out.
And we should say, and Tomas, not only does he say, not only is Angela being told to take your daughter to a psychiatrist, but he's telling her demons aren't real. Like the church invented them. Like again, kind of establishing his sort of his own tenuous beliefs, but also the fact that he just doesn't even buy into that as like a thing.
He says they were invented to explain mental illness, and then a bird flies into the window and gets stuck and dies. But then, and this is still like he's having these dreams and these visions of this stuff, but he doesn't know what it is. He just thinks it's random. He doesn't have any reason to think it's anything other than like weird nightmares.
And I will say that, these scenes we get of what ends up ultimately being the failed exorcism of Gabriel, very effective, very creepy. And like the kid spitting out his own teeth and lunging like he's gonna bite him. It's all freaky. And then even the way it plays with our expectations when he turns his head, which ends up just snapping his neck and killing him. Like we think, oh, the old head spin's gonna happen. And instead it's just like, nope, this is actually a horrible way that this kid's gonna die. The intense moments here work really well, and so does the Casey reveal in the attic at the end of this episode. So we should mention here that Alan Ruck's playing someone with brain damage. I don't think we learned his family has gone through a lot. We don't
know what's happened to him, but he does have lucid moments. He's like, he can play Jenga with them. He goes for ice cream like he's not there, but then he spaces out sometimes. And one of the times he's spacing out is when Thomas is visiting and he tells him how to get to this place where they put all the pedophiles. Like he's like, go, this is where they store all the priests who aren't allowed to be in front of a flock anymore. And so for something, I think we're introduced to two different forces here, and one because is this God speaking through Henry, or is this the demons wanting him to find Marcus, or because the demon at the end of the second episode, the homeless person who Marcus can't hurt with his exorcism powers, says, we were told you were never coming back and that you are gone for good. And so you have to wonder who is driving Thomas to Marcus.
Right.
Doesn't seem like it's the demon at this point is what I'm trying to say. Seems like it might be the powers of good might be there.
Yeah. And then you referenced this earlier, but we also get in here Tomas looking up, first trying to find just Marcus, and when that doesn't work, looking up exorcisms. And in case you missed it, if you were glancing away, the direct reference to the first movie with the Georgetown, Chris McNeil, and 2 deaths mentioned in the article that we see him looking at.
It is weird that it doesn't say 2 priests die in the headline. That seems like it should also lead not just 2 people die.
Right.
The the head snaps around. So I guess what I was trying to say, Eric, is that in this situation, God is the chief, and he's like, meet your new partner.
Right.
And then he also says, I just got off the phone having my ass chewed out by the mayor because of you 2 guys. The mayor of Chicago called God and is like, what are your boys doing?
You got to solve this your way, Marcus.
So Thomas goes and finds, also, like, who's the blind priest, by the way? Is he going to come back? I don't know. He's the first guy that Thomas meets at this retreat.
Yeah.
And seems to be like reassuring and sort of jaunty and cryptic and something, but then he goes and meets Marcus, who's like painting like fucking Balrogs from the shadow, or something terrible on his easel, and he tells him to piss off, but then he shows up in his apartment because that's so Marcus. And
I also like when he tells him he tells Tomas, they're gonna love you, kind of like ominously, like the demons are gonna love you, love fucking with you.
Well, he's pretty cool. He's a cool priest. Well, who like the Catholics love him, the demons love him.
You're gonna get along great.
He's the big unifier. He's gonna bring both sides together.
You know what was creepy also with Gabriel with the kid and the what ends up being flashbacks was the double iris when his eye, like another second iris appears.
Yeah, it's gross. It's kind of like when you learn that cats have two eyelids and then you can't unsee it, and then they have two sets of eyelids. It's gross. I tell my cat that she's disgusting all the time. And then then it comes to the point where he has a talk with Angela, and this is when he sort of talks about how he doesn't know if he actually believes in God or not, but he never got the calling. And then he goes into the attic, and this is the Casey reveal moment, killing the rat with her mind. But then when the mom shows up, she's all smiles and
all
like
chipper.
Normal, and then Tubular Bells plays, and it takes.
And then we get the theme. Yeah,
they did it. They did the theme. I'm assuming it'll show up again. It didn't in the second episode, but it can't just be in the pilot, or can it? Who knows? Episode 2. Called Lupus and Fabulous, which means talk to the devil. And we basically, again, it starts with that kid who's going around town with his headphones on, ill-fated as he was because he winds up being butchered along with his whole family. Again, creepy moment where he thinks his dad's watching TV, but he's already dead on the couch.
Yeah,
and he's listening to his headphones while his
mom.
His mom's screaming out for him while he can't hear anything. You can't just tune out of life, people. You got to be in the moment. Kids with your headphones and your screen time.
The second episode, by the way, the writer Heather Belson worked on Walking Dead back in the day as a writer. But since then, she's written for Raised by Wolves and The Sandman.
Both shows I very much enjoy, and have both good things to enjoy that I've recommended. Am I just recommending Heather Belson's full catalog?
There you go. Maybe you are.
Did she write Daryl in Paris? I don't think so. And directed by Michael Narkin. Now you have me clicking on things. Okay, so, but then we've got the flashback of basically Marcus as a young recruit.
Little Marcus.
The street urchin, the Dickensian street urchin, like exorcist crew, the Bad News Bears, the Sandlot crew.
And it turns out he's like being trained by like the exorcist equivalent of like Stick from Daredevil.
Yeah, or Fagin, like, or whoever, like whatever analogy we're going with. But yeah, he's
tough love.
He's the guy, and the kid in front of him couldn't hack it, Eric. He barfs all over the place. The second episode, a lot of barf.
That's a staple of the franchise.
It is like it's a high water mark and a trademark.
I have a Reagan action figure, one of those toony ones that look like Scooby-Doo characters of horror characters, and it's she's puking, and she's got a little plastic puke you can snap in.
It doesn't go fully gross; it goes network TV gross, but the mom is basically sees Casey at the kitchen table speaking in a man's voice, the person who's possessed her, the demon that's possessed her, like fondling her teenage girl body.
Again,
so fresh and supple, and you're and
it is it gets the message across on network TV standards. Yeah, they're like, we don't have to have a bloody crucifix to still get our creepiness across here.
And then she films her doing it. Thomas goes to the bishop, and the bishop says, "No way, Jose." And he's like, "My name is Tomas." And then the Casey stuff just sort of keeps going through the whole episode. There's the lacrosse incident, which we don't actually, at that point, we're kind of pro demon because that other lacrosse player was a bitch.
She sucks.
But then there's the thing where Angela's getting a text and then a call from her, and races home, but her phone's on the bed. And then there's all those centipedes. So there's a running theme, maybe in other episodes, we'll see, of the centipedes swirling under the bed, which is super gross. Or millipedes. I don't know what kind of pede it is. I'm not a pede expert.
I think it's a centipede, but yeah, I'm not sure.
And then but everything starts coming together. There's the House for the Homeless organization that seems to be also a gathering focal community for the homeless who are being touched by demons and then going around and doing their bidding, as well as bringing in like Angela's family for feeding them. And that's when the homeless person like becomes obsessed and sees Casey serving food and is like, that you're the chosen one and stuff like that, all while learning the Pope is coming to Chicago.
But while also saying, I want to touch you like the demon has. Yeah. And then Chekhov's Pope. The Pope is coming.
Do we know who plays the Pope? I didn't know.
We do not.
Do we know if is it a young Pope? Do we know, like, is he a cool Pope? Like Tomas is a cool priest?
I don't know. It's all questions to be answered. Also, we meet the oft mentioned, even I'm going off of just an episode and a half, but Jessica, the girl that Tomas has nearly broken his vows for.
Oh, so he calls her in. So now that Marcus has moved in with Tomas and is like, I guess I live here now, and is it cool if you still pay all the bills and get all the food? Cool. He tells him he's got a break. He read through all of his shit, including the letters from Jessica, who is now married, and he says he swears like they haven't had an affair since he took his vows, but he's very much still wants to.
And she definitely is direct, man.
She definitely wants to.
When he's like, "You look nice, you do too. What are you gonna do about it?" And she is like, "Let us get our thornboards on."
That would have been a perfect moment for a third vomit scene. When she's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" And he goes, bleh.
I should mention, and I think we get this information by the end of the pilot, but I was glad to get the explanation quickly about why Tomas and his sister have different accents, while the sister clearly has an American accent and he has a Mexican accent. And then we get the whole backstory on their parents splitting up and him going to live with his grandmother in Mexico.
Not for nothing, Jessica's played by Muzam Makar, who was on a show I really liked that lasted only one season called Champions. It was one of Mindy Kaling created, produced show that I thought was very funny. And it was, I watched it it aired on NBC, but I watched it on Hulu. But yeah,
I remember being at the DCA panel for that. There's some fun stuff in this episode. I like the demons got some good comebacks, like when he says, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit," and she, the old woman possessed, goes, "Ooh, all three." Spicy demon there. And then the whole part, the big the crowd pleasing demon puke, green puke scene is very darkly funny, because it turns out that it's like Jessica is holding back. It reminded me of What We Do in the Shadows, when they like try to act like the food's not making them have to vomit. It's like she's trying to like hold in the fact that this holy water
has horribly
affected her.
But also, it's interesting to see the moments. Like, what are we supposed to? I ask you, what are we supposed to think there as far as what does Casey think she is happening to her?
Oh, I said yeah. I used the wrong name there.
Because
Casey, yes.
Because is she aware of what's going on? Is this totally by surprise? She just pulled a fucking bug out of her mouth, and then she goes and sits, and the stranger comes up and talks to her, and she's very receptive to it.
Well, she had her wave to him at the game seemed like she already knew him. Like she was like, that must have been the moment I made a sandwich, because I missed that wave. Oh, you did?
I thought she was waving to her sister.
No, he's sitting next.
I know that. I know he's sitting next to her sister. I thought she was waving to her sister.
No, because he waves at her too. And it's like a thing where her sister, I did read it in the moment, even before I found out that like Alan Ruck can't even see the guy, that the sister thinks, oh, Casey's waving at me, but she's really waving at this creepy guy who she seems to have some sort of relationship with. But then when he comes to her, and then we see that she's like leaning on his shoulder, but he's not even physically there, from Henry's point of view.
But also Henry's crazy, so maybe he is there.
Right. It's a double. Who
do we trust? Everyone's an unreliable man. Right? Yeah. She's possessed by a demon. He's possessed by God. I don't know.
Let's make lots of money.
You've got the brains. I've got the demon.
Marcus has a fucked up backstory where his dad killed his mom in front of him, and he was sold to the church and then put into exorcist school.
Honestly, get into a trade when you're young. Like, that's my advice. You'll have a pretty solid career after
But
that.
he saw God's face at an exorcism. Like,
Yeah.
that whole thing.
Look, he's got it down. If anyone believes in God and hell, it's this guy, because
Yes.
he's actually performs exorcisms. So yeah, we've got the super devout, but he's lost his powers with the skeptic non-believer, who now I assume must be taught the ways of exorcism because maybe Marcus can't do it. It's like, so you got to do it for me, kid.
Right.
But yeah, then
You're gonna do it for me, kid. Oi.
Oi. Oi, they fuck off, oi. So then all the films people slaughtered the people, the home invade and slaughter everyone in their sleep. That was the thing. It was a horrific scene in and of itself, just killing that family, but seeing everyone come out of those homes, like there's ways to do things that are just really creepy and scary without the gore, without the full intensity. Like that was just a really narratively, and visually, that was really interesting way of seeing like everyone walk out with coolers and you knew what just happened inside, because very effective.
And then the news report at the end, because this is our horrible modern days where they have to kind of clarify that this was not a mass shooting, that all these people were stabbed in a neighborhood in different houses. And they don't get into all the details, but we got the details because we saw those organs being removed.
You know what? A good guy with a knife will stop a bad guy with a knife, Eric.
Yes. Well, and a pope will maybe, because the ending with the billboard, "He is coming." Big setup here for the pope. Is the pope going to personally get involved in this exorcism?
I hope he fucking hits someone with his stick.
I haven't had to do an exorcism.
He's like, it feels like the old days, and he like it.
He's got like special battle armor,
but he ultimately winds up dying, and it's like, oh, we're so sorry, Pope. He's like, no, this was the most alive I've felt in years. It's like if anything, I should thank you, and then he dies.
And then We Care a Lot starts playing.
Yes. Still, no one's ridden on a Vespa yet. It's very upsetting.
But maybe we'll meet the Pope's personal exorcist.
He should. According to the Pope's exorcist, he doesn't always just travel by the Pope's side, but it would be cool in this movie if he did. If he was just always there. Like he's like a bodyguard, because like demons are always coming at him left and right. Like instead of like a president, like a Secret Service agent, like looking for assassins for the president, the Pope's exorcist is like always looking for like a demon who's going to leap into the Pope's mouth.
Yeah, right.
And his version of taking a bullet is like to be possessed himself.
No,
this is a good idea.
These were two good episodes, and I don't know Jeremy Slater's like childhood background, like the fact that he wrote Fantastic Four and now does Moon Knight. Did he grow up reading comics? But this adds kind of a comic book thing to it, even with like Marcus's backstory. But that works, because tonally it sells it. Yes, it's easy to also joke about, but I think the show is really truly creepy enough that it can get away with like I've been trained to be an exorcist since I was 12. And the performances are good. So yeah, I was very sold several years after it aired on this show. I'm part of the problem because I should have watched it when it first aired.
It is interesting to see that the first season got a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes, though that was with like over 50 reviews because it was The Exorcist, it was season 1. And then season 2 only had 11 reviews, but it had 100%. So,
but that's always happened. I joke about this a lot.
What happens is that everyone who liked the show wants to review it for the second season.
Yes, yeah. And that's the thing. If you look at any, like every season of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like 100%, because not a lot of people, like there's so many people never return to review after that first season. Obviously now you've got people that, hey, I like the show, I'm sticking with the show, and so they're going to be prone to give it higher reviews. But I do think that especially this show, because it is one of those shows like and I'm not saying it's going to turn out to be as great as these shows, but I'm just saying like Sarah Connor Chronicles, Hannibal, shows that like everyone's first reaction to hearing is, why are you even trying? Like, this is a terrible idea to even try this. That it's like, look, you can make these things work, that there can be pleasant surprises. And that, I've been part of the problem. I've heard about these things sometimes.
Eric, have you ever considered this? Who asked for this?
This is true. This is true. Who asked for this? Indeed, man. This year,
one of our favorite board comments.
Yeah.
Of all time for any project,
Because
for any
we should only
announcement,
get things-
for any review, for anything.
Who asked for this? We should only get things we asked for.
Who wants this? Yeah.
Yeah. This has been a good year. Wow, I meant to mention this earlier at the Taylor Swift thing. It's like, because not shockingly, if you were to look at like the responses on, IGN's tweets or whatever to like Barbie when it was coming out, and it was all super negative. It's like, because, there's a certain male contingent that wants everything made for them. Like they're mad that there's like that's still on, that those people too. Like this, who asked for this, and that's still on, because the idea of things that are not made for them is just inconceivable. Like, that there could be people who care about things that they don't care about. And the success of Barbie and now the pre-success of the Taylor Swift movie have been very funny this year, as far as like, they don't need you. Like things can be giant hits that you can say, who asked for this? Why are they doing this?
One dude needs to see the Taylor Swift concert video movie, and it will still make $600 million. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I will see it. But yeah,
I will be passing. I am not. I don't even look. You know what? Honestly, I haven't given Taylor Swift a chance, but I can't even say that I'm a casual fan because I just don't know from Taylor Swift. I also don't have any interest in picking up Taylor Swift. Feels like a lot.
Oh, I did joke about it. Feels like there's a lot of lore with Taylor Swift.
It does. It feels like it's like getting into Doctor Who right now.
Right? People are making a lot of references and like, oh, that song's
whatever.
She's clearly referring to that. But yeah, this Exorcist show, I will definitely. I'm gonna do my best. I can't promise. Will I watch the other 18 episodes before I see?
It's look. I want to, but it's like people go back and watch old things, I guess, but it's like something that we know probably doesn't have the conclusion the creators wanted because it got canceled, and there's already so many other things to watch and do and participate in, like to go back and watch the Exorcist TV show from the mid last decade. I don't know.
Well, I absolutely will do it. I just don't know if I'll do it quickly. Like,
I thought you. Oh, I didn't let you finish. No. I thought you said
I want to see John Cho and some other people that I know are coming. Yeah. So I'm gonna do it for John Cho alone. I will definitely keep watching this. And
I will say I don't know if I'll keep watching this. I don't know if I'll keep watching this quickly. Again, like I've mentioned, I got Baldur's Gate 3 to play, which is like 17 TV shows rolled into one.
I get it.
With the catchy song that, God damn it, it's gonna. Hopefully, it'll sing me to sleep, not haunt me to sleep. But yeah.
Anyway, this was a fun, interesting up and down roller coaster with The Exorcist. And yeah, one good sequel, one promising start to a TV show, one terrible sequel, two prequels. Obviously, this is like one of those things where it's like, the first movie, as we've said before, it exists on its own. Nothing that comes after, whether it's good or bad, changes the first movie. I still see people be like, oh, they're going to ruin the original with this new one. People who hated David Gordon Green's Halloween movies are like, now he's going to ruin The Exorcist. Not possible, people. It doesn't matter if Exorcist Believer is good or bad.
Especially when we're talking about something like Halloween and The Exorcist, two of the greatest horror movies ever made that also can stand on their own with nothing else past them. Like, you can't ruin that. There's no to be continued. It doesn't matter.
Nope. Whether they pick up the story, whether they bring back characters, you can like it, you can not like it, but that original thing just stands on its own. But fingers crossed for Exorcist Believer. But
it is interesting that in the decade of remakes, they still didn't touch The Exorcist. I mean, with a remake, they were like, look, everything's being remade, but we got to go prequel with The Exorcist because there's no way we can remake The Exorcist.
Right.
While they were remaking everything else.
Well,
including Halloween. So yeah.
Well, I guess if you think about it, though, Exorcist at the beginning came out in 2004. That was still right at the beginning of the remake boom, which began in 2003. And at that point, they had made the movie twice. So maybe if it installed a little longer.
Can you imagine this? We'll sign off with this. Can you imagine the things young Reagan would say if Rob Zombie remade The Exorcist instead of remaking Halloween.
Yeah, in his attempt to try to outdo, that would be interesting.
Oh my God. Like just the thing that normal people say in this movie is like shopping at a store, like got some milk for my titties. I don't know. Like
I want to say one other thing. And some people won't even give a shit, but it's something I've been noticing since Exorcist 3, which is the fact that at some point, whoever, I don't know how these things happen legally, Morgan Creek Productions, which is a production company that in the 90s, like we saw all the time before movies, before Young Guns and Ace Ventura. They produced the third movie and everything since. The guy who runs it, James G. Robinson, I saw had an EP credit on this TV show. And it's kind of like, it reminds me how Miramax still was involved in the new Halloween movies, going back to when like the Weinsteins controlled the franchise, even though Miramax itself has been sold a couple times now. But anyway, it just was funny to me because Morgan Creek isn't like, it's not like a thing these days as much, but somehow they've retained control of Exorcist, the sequels, anything they've done since the third movie, so that they were in this. Anyway, for all you production company heads out there, that one's for you.
thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Until next time, when we experience tonal whiplash with swingers, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And shock.
Shock.